Hey, what's up guys? So today we're going to talk about textbooks, and I want to bring to bear all the knowledge that I've gained both as a recent college graduate and also as a quite adept user of Google, if I do say so myself, to help you pay as little money as possible for these things. And before we get into the thick of it, I just want to mention that I wrote an article a little while ago that goes into more in-depth detail on each of the tips that I'm going to go through in this video, and also provides links to many of the resources that I talk about. So if you want to check that out after watching, or maybe just right now, you can click my face or the card or the thing down in the doobity bibbity bop, or if you have telepathic powers, you can just go to it with those. Either way, let's get into it. So in my experience, the process to getting the best possible deal in your textbooks starts by getting the list of the books you need as early as you possibly can. As with most things in life, giving yourself ample time to prepare will result in the best possible outcome. By getting the list of the books you need early, you give yourself time to hunt for bargains, but you also give yourself time to email your professors. And this is what I did as a student, what I recommend doing. Just email them, introduce yourself briefly, and ask them two different questions. Number one, how often is the book going to be used? And number two, is it okay to buy an old edition of the book, or do you absolutely need the current edition? And when you email, just make sure you're polite and let them know that you're just trying to be budget conscious. In my experience, most professors completely understand. And once you have these two pieces of information, you can start doing a couple of different things. Number one, if the book is not going to be used very often, then you might actually be able to just go to the library and find a version they have for free, or you can decide to share a copy of the book with somebody in your class. Secondly, if it turns out you don't need the current edition, then that means you can buy an old edition. And in my experience, I've gotten old editions of textbooks that cost like $87 for the newest edition for $1 on Amazon. So it really can be worth it. And let's face it, a lot of textbooks do not need a new edition every couple of years. Like if you're taking a French history class as a gen ed, then you don't need to know about all the minute discoveries about the Napoleonic Wars that have happened since 2013. If you're really that curious, you could just go to the Wikipedia page and look at the citations for new books. But you're not that curious. Now, the alternative to emailing your professors and asking about books, or the plan of action if they don't reply, is what I like to call book gambling. And this is the act of simply waiting until the semester begins to buy your books to figure out if you really need them or not. And as a student, my policy with book gambling was this: if I could get the book within one day, if I really needed it, then I would go ahead and book gamble. Otherwise, I took the safe road and bought the book as cheaply as possible before the semester started, because some classes really get into the thick of it during the first week, and to me, it really wasn't worth the stress of falling behind just to save a couple of bucks. All right, for the next step of the process, let's talk about the library. If you go to a big enough university, there's a good chance that some of your textbooks can be found at your library. However, I really wouldn't trust copies of the book that can be checked out by other students, because when it comes test time, or when it comes time that you really need the book, it's likely to be gone. So what you want to look for are reserve copies, which are copies of the book that the library will let people use in the building, but not check out. And with those, you have a much better chance of getting your hands on one when you do need it. Aside from using the library, the other way to absolve yourself from at least some of the financial responsibility of buying books is to share them with other students. And the best way to do this is to wait till the semester starts and to find a group or a partner in class that you can share with, but this requires book gambling. So one thing you can do if you don't want to book gamble is to use Facebook groups to potentially find students who you can share books with. To do this, you can just search for your university class of 2016 or whatever your graduation year is, and then you can probably find many different official groups for that year, and in there you can make a post just asking if anybody is taking your class and would like to share a book. Also, it's a good idea to search for other graduation years, since lots of different students from different years might be in your class. All right, so now we have finally made it to the point in the process where you actually have to start buying your books. And in a moment, I'm going to talk about several different websites and online resources you can use to get the best deals. But before that, I want to talk about what might be the absolute best deal in your area: getting books from other students. There are probably a lot of students on your campus who have already taken the classes you're going to take, and the ones that still own their textbooks might be willing to sell them to you for cheap. If you can make these kind of deals happen, they're usually win-win for both parties, since on their end, they're going to get more than the campus bookstore would give them, which is 2 pennies in a pile of leaves, and on your end, you're going to pay less than the campus bookstore would charge you. If you live on campus and you happen to live around a lot of people with the same major as you, then these deals are usually pretty easy to put together. Otherwise, Facebook groups are once again a good option, and if you have any specific sort of on-campus messaging system or bulletin board, then you can try those as well. In the case that older students refuse to sell you their textbooks and instead they give you a swirly and steal your lunch money, well then here are your other options. And I want to start with the oddball ones, starting with one called Boundless. Now this is actually kind of the wrong section of the video to put Boundless in, but it fits because it's a website. Boundless doesn't actually charge you for their textbooks. Instead, they make open source online textbooks which use open source Creative Commons data, but they structure it in the way that many popular textbooks do. So if you don't need a specific textbook for your class, but you do just need a general outline of the information in detail, then a lot of their subjects may be suitable for your needs. The second oddball site I want to talk about is called Packback Books, and this is going to be useful for those times when you have a textbook that's required but is not used very often. Basically, what Packback does is allows you to rent digital textbooks for $5 a day. So instead of having to rent it for an entire semester and pay like $40 or $50 or whatever, if you just need the book for 2 different tests throughout the semester, then you end up paying just $10 for 2 days of renting. Now, if those sites don't work for you, then there are plenty of traditional textbook sites out there, and the ones that I used as a student include Amazon, Chegg, and Textbook Rush, but there are plenty of others like Abe Books, Book Renter, Textbooks.com, and many, many others. And because there are so many of these, I recommend using a price comparison tool to compare the prices across all of them. And the ones I know about specifically include Student Rate Textbooks, Slug Books, and Big Words. With any of these tools, you can just put in the book's ISBN number or the title of the author, and then it'll pull up the book and query all the different sites out there to figure out which one has the lowest price. It's also good to note that you have several different options for the formats of the books you want to get. For instance, you can buy or rent, you can go physical or digital, or you can get combinations of both. For instance, as a student, I made use of digital rentals a lot, and you also might be able to find international editions of the books you need. These are often black and white instead of color, or paperback instead of hardcover, but usually they have the exact same content and are much cheaper. 2 last things to note here. Number 1, don't discount brick and mortar stores. If you have like a secondhand bookstore in your area, or if your campus bookstore sells used editions, then you might actually find a better price there than you can online. And secondly, if you're going to plan on selling your textbooks at the end of the semester, then go on Amazon and see what the buyback prices are right now, because you might actually come out ahead if you buy and subsequently sell than if you rent. All right, so that is the point where we're going to wrap this video. Now, I know you might be in a weird situation where maybe your school forces you to buy new books, or maybe you have to buy one of those books that comes with an online code that can only be used once, which I absolutely hate those kind of books. But in any case, hopefully you found at least a couple of useful tips in this video that can save you money on at least a few of the books you have to buy in the future. Once again, if you'd like to dig into the article I wrote for this video that has even more detail, you can click the card or the link down in the doobity bobbity boobity bop. And if you have tips that I didn't mention in this video, share them below in the comments so other people can benefit from them. That's all I've got for this week. So if you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, then give it a like to support this channel, and I will see you in next week's video. Thanks for watching. Hey there guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Now if you want to get new tips every single week on how to be a more effective student, you can click that big red subscribe button right there. And also if you want a free copy of my book on how to earn better grades, you can click the picture of the book and I'll send you one. If you want to check out the article that goes along with this video, click the orange logo right there. And if you missed last week's video, we talked about how you can bounce back from failure, so check it out if you missed it. Lastly, if you want to connect with me, I'm Tom Frankly on both Instagram and Twitter, or you can leave a comment down below.